The House of Representatives on December 9th passed hr2278, the anti-terror TV bill. The government is going to be able to label any satellite provider who publishes anything that's, quote, anti-American. They're going to be label them a terrorist group and start sanctioning them. What is anti-American? What incites violence against Americans? I mean, one could argue that rap music incites violence against Americans. I'm going to give you a link for this bill. I want you to be able to read the bill, and we have to follow this bill. This is from a friend of mine in Washington. First, this bill has passed the House. Just the House. It is not a law. The Senate is doing nothing with it, for now at least. I'm sure it will come up as it is an election year. I'd suggest that you pass the info around, read the actual text of the House bill, etc. The first step is to keep well informed. The news piece was not very helpful in that regard, as it made it appear that the bill was a law, and there was pressure on Obama to enforce it. Not even close. Second, if it is as vague as it sounds, it's unconstitutional, and would have a very rough time in the courts. By the way, Congress people vote for unconstitutional bills all the time, counting on the courts to reject them later. It's a dangerous game, but politically, they feel they have more to lose voting against a bill like this than for it. By the way, it flew through the House. Almost everybody voted yes on it. I doubt if the Constitution could pass Congress today. So keep the pressure up and let people know to read the text and contact their senators and, of course, cable and satellite companies. On the plus side, there's no way business wants a bill like this, especially not the communications industry. Who exactly is supposed to monitor all the content of every single overseas news source and then decide what is and isn't anti-American? The response to a bill like this passing would also hurt American economic interests, and the president would have to sign it after it passes the Senate, where I guarantee you it won't come up until the fall, if at all. Of course, a successful terrorist attack in the U.S. and all bets are off. How do you like that? Let's say Israel, for example, did something that was unflattering, and alJazeera reported on it. And Israel says, wait a minute, this report's going to make us look really bad. So they call someone in Washington and say, hey, we're going to stop alJazeera from posting his videos about what happened over there. We can't stop them. It's their right to do what they want. No, use 2278. Use this new law, the terror law, and we can pressure them. We'll say it's anti-American, so shut alJazeera down. Tell them they're going to get sanctioned. They don't pull that story. So now we've got the CIA and Israel running alJazeera and every media group in the Arab world. There's another thing. They listed in this bill that this law only applies to Arab countries. That's like saying African Americans can't drive in the commuter lane, or gays can't buy grapefruits in the market. I mean, that's part of America. You can't single out a group. So what will have to happen is this law will be enacted, and then all of a sudden a Chinese group that's non-Muslim will do something bad. And we're going to use that to punish this non-Muslim group for the same crime and call them terrorists. Then it'll hit home. The New York Times will print something. And the CIA will show up at the editor's desk and say, look, what you're saying, even though it may be true about America, if it comes out, it's going to make people hate America, and it's anti-American, and we're going to prosecute you and label you a terrorist group under the new law, even though you're not Muslim. So that's frightening. You know, Bret Hart was a famous writer back in the times when we were abusing the Native Americans here in our country. And I was named after Bret Hart, the poet. He lost an important job as a writer for, this was his crime, accurately reporting the oppression of the Indians. He was punished and he lost his career for accurately reporting. The media was not ready to hear the truth. We're going to have CIA agents standing in alJazeera telling them what they can produce and what they can't produce. You need to follow this bill, and we need to make sure that this bill does not become a law. Simple.